Let's just remind ourselves about when we had a first idea about the tactics that were going to be used by the relevant parties. Well, do you remember this? This was when the Conservatives set up their own press Twitter account during a live TV debate and made it appear like it was a fact-checking account of Labour, their direct opponents in this election. Now, this generated a strong response from a lot of people on Twitter, many people saying that it was inappropriate and misleading for the Conservatives to essentially mislead the public through their own social media profiles. And in fact, Twitter came out with a statement saying that any further attempts that the Conservatives would try and do this to mislead the public on their platform, that would result in clear and decisive corrective action, although no action was taken in the direct instance. But it wasn't just that. Do you remember this, when the Conservatives also set up this website, making it appear like it was Labour's manifesto, big picture of Jeremy Corbyn, red colour all around. The only indication that it was Conservative, a website by the Conservative Party written here. This was a website set up and actually advertised on Google initially, which was then taken down as a result. These are the sort of tactics that the Conservatives resorted to in the lead-up to this election. But let's take a look at Labour themselves and where they bought the ammunition. Now, this was when Jeremy Corbyn announced that he had found redacted documents that the UK's National Health Service, essentially the closest thing that the United Kingdom has to a state fund and a state pension, well, they had announced that the National Health Service was going to be up for sale in a potential post-Brexit free trade agreement with the United States, something that Labour had been campaigning heavily against. Well, here in the Cube, we looked into this deal and we found that actually, although it did suggest that the US was interested in UK's pharmaceuticals and healthcare system, this did not actually prove that the NHS was up for sale in any firm details or any firm agreement. So you can see here some of the tactics that were being used by the parties to try and get their name out there and get the voters talking. But it wasn't just the Conservatives and Labour. This was the Liberal Democrats, and they released leaflets like this, which made it appear that the UK newspapers and the UK media had very positive things to say about their party. Well, these were actually direct quotes from the Liberal Democrats' own leader, Joe Swinson, but again, republished and reposted to almost mislead the public into thinking that the Liberal Democrats were achieving their success in this election. So you can see here a number of different tactics, but it's not just through the likes of leaflets, it's also through deep and very technological ways that they're trying to do this. Remember this, again, way back when the Conservatives, at the very start of the election, they released this. This was an edited video of Labour Party's chief shadow Brexit minister, Keir Starmer. Now, he's one of Jeremy Corbyn's key front bench allies in Labour. Well, they released a video, the Conservatives, of their opponent, and they edited it to make it seem that he could not answer questions about a potential Brexit deal that the Labour would be able to get with the EU if they were indeed voted into power. Well, this video was again proven fake by a number of different organisations, but the Conservatives still came out on Twitter afterwards and said that it was a car crash interview, and they were just putting it out there as part of their tactics. So with all these different digital campaignings potentially misleading the public, it begs the question about whether this has ever been seen before in a UK general election. Well, I asked this question to Mike Harris. Now, he's the CEO of 89up. They are a social media monitoring company, and this is what he had to tell me.
There's a real sense that this election feels dirtier than previous elections before. That social media is turning, that social media is basically amplifying the existing prejudices of the supporters of the main two political parties. Messages that are more factually based, or messages that are almost more moderate in a sense, are just doing really badly and not cutting through. Content that has an instant, visceral, emotive reaction is doing really, really well.